Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream, guys. It's been a while since we've done a talk and stream. So today I want to talk about Dune Awakening, which I think for me is the game of the year. I absolutely love Dune. I'm digging it. You know what? Let me show you how much I love Dune, just so I can get a little street cred. 888 hours in it so far, and it's been out for just over 3 months. So I've been playing a little bit of Dune, and I know many of you are like, put out more videos. I'm working on it. Trust me. Trust me. I will. I will. I try not to be. I'm not really worried about being the earliest. I am worried about, or at least try to be, one of the best. So it does take me a little bit of time. Okay, so let's talk about the past, present, and future of Dune Awakening. And this is, a bit. I'm asking a lot. I don't think we're going to get through all of that. I've only got a little bit under 2 hours here to be able to cover everything. So we're just going to start and run through it. First off, I asked you guys for some questions, and you sent me some so that I could submit directly to the developers. And I have all of those answers right here for you. So we're going to kind of walk through it and talk about it. Let me just find a handful of them in Discord, because some of them I didn't need to ask the developers about at all. I could just find myself. So I'm just going to pull them up real quick and go through these, because I know that a lot of you guys have questions and you're not able to keep up with all these games in the same way that I am. So understandably, you're not quite up on everything. So first one here is some Novoctis. I wonder if any of the additional or extended test. I'm sorry. I wonder if with the addition of extended testing stations, if we see those extended instances with optional difficulty modes to be selected, like we have in Elder Scrolls Online, Vet, and Hard Mode Dungeons and Trials. Right now, I don't see this happening at all. I think that this is not one that I was able to ask them just because I had limited number of questions to be able to ask. But it is something that I think that we know quite well, that they've talked about doing a lot of different things, and they have some ideas for things as far as maybe group content and what have you. We're not there yet at all. So I think right now in the past 3 months, they've been just trying to catch back up. And I also think that for the average player base right now, all of that kind of stuff is a very, very small percentage of the overall market. Most people struggle with just being able to complete the current testing stations, which are the equivalent of like dungeons for those who don't know. So that's going to be one thing major. Another thing, guys, if you're tuning in just because you watch my content, I appreciate it. First off, free trial is out right now. Let me make sure that everybody can see this. How about that? There we go. Can see this quite well. So this weekend, we have a free trial going on right now. Actually, I think this one might be from the past. There's one going on right now. This is like from a bit. Here, let me get to the newest stuff here. Let me jump over there, because it's going to be through the I believe the 15th, if I recall correctly. So we just had a new update, and then the free weekend is going on right now. Where is it? Yeah, 11th through the 15th. There we go. Free weekend. Game has full access, and you also get a 20% discount if you're looking at buying the game. So, hey, good to see you, Hunter. So this is the full access again to the game, everything but the new paid DLC you can access. So pretty cool. You can play the full game. You can join us. So I'm on like 4 different servers because streamer and all that good stuff. If you want to come join us, come hang out or what have you, the main guild is on the Anvil, and I don't really stream that kind of content. We will have to lock that down. Hey Dylan, what's going on? We will have to lock that down eventually to make sure that only the people that are in the guild can see everything. But we're on the Anvil, and I think we have all the info in there as far as what siege and everything we're on. But come check it out if you're looking for try some stuff out. We can help you out a little bit and let you get jumpstart in the game. Although I will say, if you're someone who likes the single player, you like the story and everything else, just playing the game and running through it doesn't take that long. There's probably, just in Haga Basin, there's probably about 200 hours worth of gameplay, which is absolutely wild to me. And that's for $50. Okay, so there's so many people right now that are a little bit angry, and I sometimes feel like I stand in between like players and developers, because sometimes I'm like, what are these developers doing? And sometimes I'm like, what are these players doing? And this is one of those things where people are mad about something, and you're like, this happened with Helldivers, which I also thought was like the best game. Which I thought was like the best game, when it came out last year and what have you, and just keeps getting better. And people will still get pissed off about it. They're like, there's nothing to do. And you're like, how many hours you got? And they're like, 1,000. And you're like, dude, how much did you pay for the game? you can't expect infinite content for $40. You know, it's just unrealistic. So it's on sale right now, $40, several hundred hours, for, at least for me. If you want to, people play the games differently. Maybe you'll have less. Very, very high likelihood you could also have more. But I think there's at least a couple hundred hours. The developers have conservatively said like 170 or something. I think there's more than that, or something lower than that. I think there's more. I think they're just being conservative, which I think is the right thing for them to do, because serving their own interest, they might be accused of that. But for the price, absolutely crazy. This is so good that I'm actually going to, from the channel, I think, pick up this game and give it away to someone next week after the trial, someone who's interested in sticking with it, but maybe doesn't. I know there's some people that even $40 is too much for them, but I know for most of us that's not going to be the case, because I know I've mentioned this before, but even growing up without having a whole lot, you find money for the things that you really enjoy. Okay, so let's get back to some of these questions that have been asked. Also, a quick note, and I'll have to say this a few times. If you guys have questions, or if you want to talk about something, if you want to mention a bug, anything that's annoying about the game, please do. That's the whole point of this live stream, is to be able to talk about this stuff and kind of walk through it. So another one here, another question. This is actually from Rin. I care about achievement and cosmetics earned via achievements. Probably why I like ESO so much. So a lot of my friends, ESO is the main thing I cover. A lot of you guys know that, but there might be some new people here. So there's kind of a three-parter here. Will we see more outfit styles? I think we've already seen that. Yes, and absolutely they will continue to. And one of the things the reasons we know that is we can also look at some of their past games, like what they did with Conan Exiles, where it started off and there was one style to build in, and only a handful of styles to make your character look like, and that's one of the main things that they keep adding and adding. Those cosmetics are something that players really want. There's something that the studios can therefore continually have someone who's working on that kind of stuff, and I think we'll just keep getting more and more as time goes by. Another thing that kind of goes a little bit along with this is that there have been people that are concerned with the it's only one environment. It's only, desert, and is that going to get old and everything? Sorry, guys, I just came from the gym. I'm still sweating after a shower. Are there going to be different ones? This is some of the biggest news, I thought, but they've talked about going to other worlds. And I think that the home of the Atreides, which is a largely water world, or it's very wet, is probably the first one they're going to do. So assuming things go well, assuming the game is doing well, I think that we'll see that at some point in the future. So I think that there is a ton of stuff that will, I think we're getting it. So the other thing is about swatches, which are coloring for, you can kind of like paint your vehicles and what have you. House swatches expanded across all, house swatches, not like your housing, but like for the various houses or factions in the game, expanded across all armor weights and still suits. Are we getting achievement rewards for PvP? So, achievement awards for PvP, I don't know. I wasn't able to get that directly in that, but everything else, like the answer. So to the specific questions, are we getting X? Are we getting Y? Like this one particular thing in this one particular situation, I don't think they even know. But the answer is overall, yes, we're getting more of all of that stuff. They know that you guys like it. And also the other thing I'll say is that this company has been the most responsive to feedback from players of any game that I played in a long time. Incredibly responsive. So if you have something that you really want, let them know. Let them know, because they are listening. They're actively listening. I don't think everything's getting through to them. I think that there is kind of a noise to signal issue there. But in general, absolutely. Like, they're listening for feedback and they're acting upon it, and incredibly fast. Another one here is I'm wondering about objective-based faction zones will be added. Or, I'm sorry, I'm wondering when objective-based faction zones will be added, as in specific PvPvE set-piece situations that involve specific strikes against reinforced militarized sites, locations, and so forth, which require a combined arms approach using ground vehicles and multiple groups on foot to complete. Cool. Wouldn't it be cool if they added 3 bars? Hunter's joking about ESO over here. Oh, man. So the answer to this question is that's going to be next quarter, and that's what they've said. somewhere in that 3 month period. So we just started in September. I believe October, November. We've got that is like the 3 months for them, or maybe it's yeah, I think that's right. And then the next quarter would be December, January, February, I believe. Don't I might be off by a month, guys. That is such a weird time, but I believe that's correct. But we will be seeing it when in the next update, which is going to be the PvP update, which they'll redesign the deep desert, and there will be a lot of that's when they're planning on figuring out and kind of changing the deep desert. I mean, I say figuring out. I think they're already working on that, but that's when we'll actually see those kind of updates. Dylan says 100% agree that there is great bi-directional feedback response from Funcom. Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things I've seen some creators and gamers and what have you. And first off, everybody's opinion is valid, right? It's your opinion. It's how you feel about things and what have you. But I also see some craziness where people have, again, these crazy expectations, and I don't know where they come from. And it's like, one of the things that I want to say to Funcom and most game companies, honestly, is when you have a situation where players are just asking for more, everything for a price. I know that you can't do it with limited money, with limited resources and what have you. If players really want it, give us the opportunity to put our money where our mouth is and figure out a cost to add that really cool stuff. One of the things I've seen with Funcom and with Dune Awakening recently is some wild things, again, where people are, oh, it's not a live service game, and they're not really going to update it, they're not really going to add anything meaningful to the game and what have you. Funcom chose the monetization policy that they have because they're pro consumer. And so there's not a subscription. You can pay right now $40, but normally $50, and get access to everything for the entire Game Pass or whatever it is for like the year. If you want all the DLCs for the years, it was $70 total. So $5 per DLC or something like that. That's wild. $70 for a game that they're going to continue to add stuff to, and the scope of it and everything else. You're getting an incredible value. And I think that while some folks will disagree with me on this, I think one really good way to value a game is to say, how many hours of enjoyment is this thing going to give me? In the US, if you want to go to a movie with, probably not going to go by yourself, so maybe you go with a friend or what have you, but let's just say just your own costs, you're looking at spending anywhere from, like, depending on where you're at, like $10 to $20, right? And very possibly a lot more for 2 hours of enjoyment, a little bit less. And it could be way more if you're going with a family and what have you, but whatever. That's 2 hours. I have 888 hours into this game. And again, single player, there is, 200 hours. My wife is looking at me. I think yeah, bring it over. Bring it over there, little lass. She needs me to open something. It's okay. It's okay. You need. There you go, sweetheart. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's amazing. All right. Where was I? Yeah. If you look at that, where, what is that? $5 an hour, 200 hours. So what the game should cost, what, $1,000, right? Like, I get that it's different. These things aren't directly comparable, but I think they are to a large degree. So something I really think that everybody just needs to take a moment and think about and what have you, and take a deep breath and consider that. All right, so we got some other questions here that we can maybe get to in just a little bit. I want to talk about the past of Dune, though, before we get to some of the other questions. One of the things that has happened is, so the game came out, right? And one of the major issues with Dune is that there's so much about it that's quite amazing. But even before the game came out, a large part of what they did is they cloned their other game, Conan Exiles. And with Conan Exiles, they had some pretty cool features. I played the game actually in anticipation for Dune coming out. And, they had the similar climbing system. The combat was not the same, but not altogether different. And a handful of other things, right? You look at Conan Exiles, and a lot of it Dune feels like a clone. And this is one of the things that people were like, oh, this is so terrible. They didn't make all new stuff. So first off, some of the best games out there are clones of other games. But the other thing is, like, as long as they're improving upon it and making it new, they saved all that development time. If you've got a good physics engine, all you need to do is change things up, and add to it, and then it's even better. So what they did is they added suspensor belts, they added flying vehicles, they added some stuff that makes, and vehicles period, that make the game really cool, and they got to save all that development time so they could make a bigger game for less money, which I think personally is a really good idea, because if you took some good features that you have, and I think it's one of the reasons why Dune is so good. I think it's a feature, not a bug. Dylan says, great example is the Dooman set. Funcom didn't have to respond and make a full set, but they've stepped up, apologized for the miscommunication, even though they're non-English speaking, and did so. Yeah, so one of the things, so what Dylan here is talking about is that they actually announced, let me just pull it up, actually. I'll show the announcement. This is one of the things that I've also seen misinformation about from YouTubers. Had someone said that they like lied, or that they or something about the Dooman set, and they did have a miscommunication, and that was not great, and they have rectified the situation. Let me show it, but they didn't lie. And it really kills me when other YouTubers, because I hold the, it's my people, right? And I just think we should do a better job of communicating accurate information. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Is it before or after this? And I guess I can just pop this over and bring this over. So this is from Funcom, from their YouTube page. And I think I went too far. We dug too deep. So another thing that's really cool too is, like, you're getting these drops on Twitch right now. These are the old ones. You're getting some new ones right now if you're watching on Twitch. If you're not, go watch on Twitch. And this is the Observer building style. And one of the things is, like, they've recognized that not everybody wants to watch on Twitch, not everybody cares to, but these are cool pieces. They're going to make them eventually available in-game, which I'm really excited about. Actually, I think it's this one. I think we can just scoot over there. Yeah, it is. So here is one of the posts they made, and let me get this a little bit larger for you guys. It's not very, there we go. Not very large there. All right. They said, here's some of the stuff we're getting, right? Lost Harvest DLC, we're getting this new treadwheel, we're getting a new journey, 3 Imperial testing station, 5 base decorations, and then Dune Men building pieces. And then they show this whole building, right? And then weapon skins, armor skins, Thumper emo. And we actually got way more than, these are just in the DLC. Just the base one, we also got another 5 skins. You get all of these, as well as armor types, a couple of, this is all free on this page, new tattoos and everything else. But they said Duneman building pieces, and everybody kind of understandably thought that they meant that we were going to get, a full new set of building and everything, and it's only a handful of pieces. And I think it was like 3 or 5 or something like that. Not a lot. People were mad. Understandably, sure. Funcom keeps doing stuff like this, and I feel like I'm watching someone, like, accidentally hurt themselves on repeat. And you're like, dude, quit they step on the rake and it whacks them in the head, and then they leave, and they come back and they step on the rake again, and you're like, dude, pick up the rake or do something else with the rake. Please quit hurting yourself. I'm tired of watching it. I like you. I don't want you to hurt yourself. And we keep seeing stuff like this where they have done such a good job with some things, and then you're just like, what are you guys doing? So Doom in Pieces, they responded to this. They actually made a post. It's actually one of the things I think I have up. One of these mini tabs. I pulled up a bunch of tabs for us. Hot fixes, patch notes, public test client, a message about PvP. Is it in here? Well, it's in here somewhere. Where they were talking about this, but they've talked. Actually, you know what? Did I go to the? It's here somewhere. Let me see it. Yeah, regarding the Duneman building pieces, they responded. They said, we recognize our communication around the content of the DLC has not been clear enough. The Lost Harvest DLC has a variety of content, with the focus being on the new side story and the treadwheel. But the way the Duneman building pieces were communicated created expectations that it was a full building set, rather than what was our intention, 4 new pieces to supplement the base game sets. Right. Cool. They've owned it. They've said, and then they said, we're going to try to get out, I think, a full set, I think by the end of the month, wasn't it? It's somewhere in here. Oh, yeah, late September, early October, right? Around 15 more pieces is what they're going to add. So, like Dylan was saying, they've heard us, they've responded, and they're doing something about it in an incredibly quick turnaround time. That's awesome. I think that's really cool. I think in general, like this is again the situation where you watch someone hurting themselves, and you're like, why do you keep doing that? They should have always released the full set. The full set is what people want. People don't want trickling out pieces. It sucks. If I've got 3 pieces of a housing set, I can do almost nothing. So until there's a way more different kinds of housing sets, which there will be eventually, then they could trickle some out and it would make a lot more sense. But that's just one example. Another thing that, just to offer criticism where it's due, the new treadwheel vehicle, first off, this thing drives like a dream. It's incredibly fun to use. It's pretty awesome, right? There's also no point in game to using a ground vehicle whatsoever, and it makes no sense. So it's again like, why are you guys hurting yourselves? Why are you guys doing this? It doesn't make any sense. The new Dune pieces and even the old pieces, they have these garages that no vehicle can fit in. Like the only thing that can fit in these is your tiny little sand bikes. And you're like, guys, why did you make all these garage pieces that are so small they can't be used? Again, are they cool? Is it a good idea? Yes. Does some of this stuff just incongruous and just not make sense? Yes, absolutely. I just want to catch up on chat here. Lyriel, who's my wife, says, I was conflicted about interrupting you. I was debating if it was worth admitting on stream that I couldn't open a jar knowing you'd be obnoxious. You're welcome, Lyriel. Dylan says, nothing wrong with reskinning. Great use of development time. Absolutely agree. And yeah, they didn't lie. Exactly, they didn't lie. And that's one of the things that's very irresponsible for people with a platform with a lot of followers and what have you to say stuff like that, and I wish we would stop doing it. And I've heard one of the people that I've watched some of and is Echo. I could try to find him and pull him up or whatever. I have very mixed feelings about him, and part of that is like he kind of seems like a jerk, and he also seems like he's usually he gets really upset about these things, and he's part of the problem, and it's not having a realistic view. Maybe he's just going for shocking content, but yeah, chapter 2 scam, and then he says in here that I watched this a little bit earlier, that the things that are so bad, and he has valid complaints, and then he has stuff that is not valid, and it's all delivered in such a poor way that it's not helpful, and it's actually very harmful for the game. He says that he cares about the game and he wants it to succeed and what have you. Guys, if you care about a game and you want it to succeed, hating on it everywhere on the internet, not a good way to help that game succeed, because most people don't understand that you're saying that this is an amazing and it's a great game, and I just wish that they would change this one thing. If you're raging about it, that's just there's a time and a place, but 3 months after a game launches, when the developers are this responsive, not the time and the place. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Let me see. I'll catch up on a few more of these chats. Sorry about that, guys. Dylan says they just aren't clear about speaking about things. Well, we all assumed it was a full set, and they didn't clearly state it was or wasn't one. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Fair enough. Crude Red says, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know Funcom made Dune. I won't play Funcom games due to past experiences. Yeah, that's fair. That's valid. I think that some people have had been burned by Funcom in the past, and I think that's totally valid. I think one of the biggest... Crude, can you tell me, I bet I know what your experience is with Funcom in the past, just based on average what people say, but I would love if you wouldn't mind just like a couple of things, or what's your biggest issue or what have you with it, just to see if I'm right, and then maybe we can talk about it a little bit. Dylan says, I just realized I've not been live. Apologies for the delayed chat. Oh, no, you're good, man. Oh, you were a little bit behind. No worries. All right. Cool. Well, yeah, so one of the things, another thing that Funcom keeps doing, and I personally find this stuff very incongruous, is that when the game went live, one of the things they did is they had these 200 hours in and again, this is free to play right now, guys. So if you're interested in trying it, go try it out for the free weekend. You can join us on the Anvil. Go check in the Discord server. You can find out what siege we're on, and go check it out. But you got about 200 hours of, I think, some of the best. It's not really. It doesn't have to be single player, although I did all of mine single player, and all my other friends kind of did too. But I don't know, PVE at least content, where you get to explore a world, and I found so many cool things. I just thought it was great. Now, I don't play survival games generally. I generally don't like them. I think this is actually incredibly enjoyable. I have found everything about Dune to be incredibly enjoyable. When you start off the game, you do not have everything unlocked, guys. You got to realize that. And stuff will be hard, and you'll be like, well, this sucks, and this is, I'm walking across the desert. Very quickly, and once you played for a while, once you unlock your first ornithopter, the game changes. Once you unlock a full suspensor belt, the game changes. I think it is really cool to have to play the game without those things and then get them, because you're only without them for a little bit of time, and then you have them for the rest of the time. If you don't want to play without those core things, shield is another one. Getting on a server where someone's already there that can help you out, it's very easy for them to hook you up with stuff, but you can also speed run it too if you're interested. I think that it's very easy to pick it up. But anyways, you've got several hundred hours, incredible exploration, immersive gameplay. The quests, I'm not a huge quest person. Most of you know my story stuff. I played tabletop RPG, so I get it from there. Then what would happen is, once you got done with everything, you would go out into the deep desert, and you wanted to finally get a lot of spice sand, and turn it into spice melange. And basically the entire deep desert, almost the entirety of it, just everything but 1/9 was PvP. And this was weird and incongruous, and just like, wait, why did we go from all PvE to almost all PvP? And all of the top tier items in the game were locked in this PvP area. Pretty much. You could do stuff with Landsrad where, you're farming and normal stuff, normal gameplay loop could get you some of those items. But a lot of it was really locked, and so was all of the spice melange was locked behind that. Well, that was a bad idea. And it was such a bad idea just on paper. I don't know why they did it and why they went live with it, but they did. There's some people who really got into the PvP, and it was pretty awesome. And I am one of the people that loves both aspects. I think that the PvP in this game and just playing against other people is just absolutely amazing. However, the core game is the first 200 hours is all PvE, pretty much 99%. And so the situation is, you played this game that's 99% PvE, and then you get to in game, and all of a sudden it's all PvP. Made no sense, honestly. And another one of those situations where you're like, guys, why are you hurting yourselves? You made a really cool game here. Just stop hurting yourself. But it's what they did. In the first 3 months of launch, they changed it. They made some drastic changes. They moved the PvE/PvP delineator line to where it's 50-50 in the deep desert, and moved it where it's much easier to get all of those top tier items. Is it perfect? No. Is it still messed up? Yes. Is that frustrating, and should people be pissed off, or is it okay? Do I agree with them? They're pissed off. I want to say absolutely. I mean, it seems completely valid to me, at least, that they would be mad. And this is like, again, why are you guys doing this to yourselves? But it is what it is, and I think that they're moving absolutely as fast as can be expected of them. So I think that part of it is entirely reasonable. Looking, so the current situation in the game is that we've got a bunch of updates. We've got a decent amount of bug fixes. There are still some major bugs, guys, that are in the game, and they've introduced some new ones. The bug issue for me, especially with a game that is live service and there's people are expected to play for years and years and decades, like a MMO, which I know they took the MMO title off, but it's absolutely, it's one of the most mass multiplayer. It's one of the most multiplayer games, and I think the mass is there as well, that I've played in recent memory, because you have reasons. I interact more and work cooperatively with people in Dune Awakening much more than I do in Elder Scrolls Online. So if Elder Scrolls Online is an MMO, then I think Dune Awakening has to fall into that category. Personally, I don't see how you could call it anything else. I mean, at least have that tag on it. That's just how I feel. I think that's pretty clear. But with that, when you play games like MMOs, you play long hours. And they said they've been surprised by the number of hours people have played, the length of play sessions, and what have you. Certain bugs that are really annoying and problematic, they start off and they're like, oh, that was weird the first time it happens. Ah, that's a bug after it happens 2 or 3 more times. Okay, all right, that's kind of annoying. The 100th time it happens, you're raging. And this happens with all games. It happened with Helldivers most recently for a game that I played a lot of. But, eventually you have to fix those bugs. And Elder Scrolls Online is a great example of what happens if you don't. Eventually your player base gets angry at you, and you constantly cannot even get good feedback because the player base knows that you don't care enough about their play experience to fix those bugs. And so I think that is one of the core things that I'd really like to see from Funcom do, is make sure, yes, you're fixing it. They're doing a lot and they're doing great, but they do need to make sure if a year from now we still have really annoying game-breaking bugs in the game that aren't new, the ones that are introduced, to me, like, Funcom will have failed at this. And then it's like, okay, we can look and we can say, well, the future is not looking good because they can't do these basic things. So they absolutely do need to, in addition to all the great content and all the cool stuff, continuing to listen to players, I think they've got to make sure that they take care of bugs and that they address it in a way that makes, that's satisfactory for players. So I think that's one of the huge things. I think Red, either my chatbot stopped working or Red's just like, nah, I'm out of here, man. I don't got time to tell you why I'm pissed off at Funcom. But I would be curious. Maybe you can tell me another time, Red, if you're busy right now, which I know could be the case. You could be listening while you're working in your shop or doing plenty of other things, man. But I would be curious. And I know for other people, like they've had those same issues. A lot of times what games companies will say is that, they are limited on resources and it's a money thing. What I would say to those companies is figure out everything for a cost. Figure out the cost that it's going to take for you to fix the game, but you will do so much better if you can show players that you're responsive and that you'll actually do things that they want. And you can get the player base on your side and just tell them, like, hey, guys, Funcom has done a great job by making it not a subscription service because they're trying to be pro-consumer. They also don't have loot boxes, which are incredibly profitable in every game they're ever put in. Loot boxes are incredibly profitable, but they're also kind of generally speaking, they don't have to be, but they're pretty much always, they're anti-consumer. And they said, we don't want to do that stuff, right? But all of that stuff makes you more money. Having a monthly subscription makes you a ton of money. Makes you a decent amount of money. Having loot boxes and all that stuff makes you a ton of money. We don't want that stuff in our games, right? But we do want all these features. And we want Funcom to make a profit because we want them to continue to make more and better games. And I say that about every game company, just generally. And so, again, everything for a cost. If they say, hey, you know what, we're going to have to up the cost of the DLCs, or we're going to have to do, something like what ESO did, where you basically have to buy the game again every year, I would still be happier with that, and it would still cost less money than Elder Scrolls Online, which is the main game I play. And if that's what it took for them to fix the bugs and to address the major concerns, I think that they have to do that, and they need to do that, and there's plenty of people that are just done with Funcom, just like Crude Red right there, and they really need to show those people, because I don't know what the past is. Like, I've caught up on some of it, but I didn't experience it like many players did who were playing Conan Exiles, and I just think that they need to try to address those things, and, some players you might never get back. That's fair, but a lot of players will give you another chance. Dylan says, I personally feel like they actually have been very responsive. I agree. I think they've been amazingly responsive. They made changes to the Deep Desert as feedback has come in over the past few months, and that just proves they can make changes on a whim and not hold to a strict design that they had. Yeah, and I don't think, whim maybe not the best word, but I agree with your sentiment there. Absolutely. And one of the things with that, they knew that was going to upset PvP players. And it was at the same time, it was making the best out of a bad situation. And I think that was the right thing to do. yes, it was going to piss off PvP players, but 99% of the players are not PvP players. They are PvE players. And so it's what they absolutely needed to do for the health of the game and what have you. And they had the courage to actually do it too, which I think is another thing, is like knowing that like we need to do this and actually having the courage. A lot of places they'll hand wring and they're not sure, they don't know, and they don't want to rock the boat, and they won't make big sweeping changes, and that's absolutely not been the case with Funcom. So for the future, I love the roadmap and what they have planned. I think that we have a ton of great information. I mean, when I heard, I knew they were going to do different environments, and not to spoil it for you, but eventually in the books of Dune, if you haven't read them, they're go read them, I guess. But Arrakis does become terraformed, and I thought that's might be where they were going, and it actually seems like with different environments, the way they're going to introduce that is by introducing different worlds that we can go to, which I think is dope. I think that's super cool. The ground vehicles. I ride motorcycles. I love mountain biking, and I like road biking. Anything on two wheels. The ground vehicles are so cool. We need a friggin' reason to use them. That was one of the questions. It's like, okay, we'll see what they do in quarter 3 and quarter 4, where they introduce no-fly zones, where they redo the deep desert and what have you, because so far what I've seen as far as game design has been absolutely amazing. There are situations like the Dune set or other bugs and issues they've had. I can't remember. We could look through some where they're just like, yeah, we just messed up on that. Yeah, there was a miscommunication, and you're like, God, it's like watching someone accidentally rack themselves over and over again, and you're like, dude, this is painful to watch. Please stop hurting yourself. But that's what it's like. But I mean, these patch notes and all the stuff they've changed, absolutely S tier responsiveness. And I think that one of the things is as players, as consumers, especially the hardcore group, right? Like, not too many people, guys, are going to watch a stream where someone like me talking about the games industry, talking about a game, a company, and what have you, and giving this perspective. But I think it is really important for us to say and celebrate when a company is this responsive. Just like celebrating, Larian, what they did, and them coming out and saying, hey, treat your people better. Hey, you could make a great game without treating people like garbage. The anti-crunch movement in games. This is great. That is awesome. When players are like, yeah, we don't want developers to have to go through crunch, that's an amazing message that does change the lives and change how games are made, and that's absolutely amazing. And I think overall, like, there will be a segment that will be mad and will still complain. And that's, again, everybody's opinion. I'm not trying to invalidate anybody's opinion, but being that rational voice that's like, sure, yeah, that, first off, I agree with you. That thing was stupid. That was a bad idea. Let's name some stuff, right? Like, so one of the things is, like, there's still the bug where you can, like, infinitely repair your gear. They tried to fix it and they introduced another bug. Looks pretty bad. The most recent update, rockets will just stop working in your Thopters. We lost a carrier and crawler because our air vehicles just could not fire. That was like this week, okay? And there were some other situations, but that was a big part of it. So huge, bugs that are a major problem. At the same time, we can also, both things can be true. You can be mad and upset and frustrated at these bugs and what have you, but also be like, you know what? I don't think it's possible for Funcom to move any faster than they already have. I think that they have moved incredibly, incredibly fast to make changes and listen to player feedback. And I just think that it's one of those things that I want people to know and understand, and not have that situation where you have some YouTuber saying that, they don't care about the game. And, another thing that I keep hearing too, and I'll just show this. So I keep hearing that the game is dead. From people, and usually it's people in the deep desert who are trying to PvP, because they did kind of kill PvP in the game. They did. It's what they needed to do. It's kind of what they had to do. But yeah, they had a country mandated month off. Yeah, exactly. During all there's a lot of exactly. And then people are like, the game is dead. Okay, if you look at Steam charts and you look at how many people are playing right now, right? Playing 2 hours ago, 30,000, and you look at a game like Elder Scrolls, which people will also say is dead, 8,000. Okay, the game is far from dead. Okay, all-time peak, right? So there is a lot of misinformation, what's concerning to me about this, this stuff can become and I mean, you can look over here at Steam itself and see like most played games, and if you look down here, I bet we'll find it. When I see RimWorld, I always think Ringworld, the book by Larry Niven. Are we a little bit further down? We'll keep going. We'll keep going. Where are we at? We're down here somewhere. We're in the top 100 with Dune. Did I miss it? I feel like I missed it. Maybe I should do it sort by alphabetical. Where is it higher? No Man's Sky down here at 16 with a new update. I've been wanting to play that recently. I know that's a little bit off topic. Here we are, 37. It's way higher. And again, on sale right now on Steam for 20% off. 37, right? A lot of people playing the game. The game is incredibly fun. There are tons and tons of hours. I hope to be continuing playing this game in 10 years. I think that Dune has an incredible future. The main thing is I just want them to see them fix the bugs. I want to see them address these, continue to address these, because they've been doing a great job. Another thing, if you haven't played the game, again, it's free right now for the weekend. Go try it. Please go try it. It's absolutely amazing. The combat, it doesn't. People were memeing on the melee combat. Like they had a bunch of streamers that went and like played, and these guys didn't play the game. They didn't know what was going on, and they were like, basically, it kind of sucks. That was not the case, and they improved it directly after and implemented some major changes. The PvP combat in Dune Awakening is to me, it's the best I've played in recent memory. It's absolutely amazing. The PvP combat is still very fun. I think there could be a ton of things added to the PvE combat, but everybody playing is playing PvE. That is the majority of the audience. So the chances they don't continue to add to that, and they have continued to tweak the AI in the game, and it has improved it. So, when I pull up player count chart, you can see the trend up just by clicking on it. You mean? I'm not like super. Is this going to pop up, or is this just going to take me to the sales for the game? Yeah, it's going to take me. Are you talking about over here? Are you talking about the, do you want to see like further? Like 615-ish? This is normal though. This is like absolutely normal. So peak player count 150 and here. So let's do this, and then we'll do if that's like, let's talk about it. I mean, if you have something, continue to say, keep talking, and we can talk about it. So let's look at Max. So this is Helldivers, right? So 458, and then it dropped down here to 75. So what is that, like a so like 35% of their peak or something like that? Is that just doing that in my head? And so we're at 150 dropping to 25. Does that seem like a reasonable way? I mean, this is just normal for a game to do this. And the other thing about it is like, yeah, I mean, keep telling me if there's, some point you're going with this, because like this happens. And then obviously the new content, and we're back up to 37-ish. So this is just like normal. Like this happens. People buy games, they play them for a while, they don't like them, or they complete the content and they come back. I think that's like pretty normal, Hey, Timbo, thanks, man. Thanks for being a pocket protector. Appreciate it. Being a channel member. Yeah, so, to me, like the fact that charts, that pretty much all games do this, where you have a bunch of people It basically, you guys have seen the YouTubers, right? Where they make content, just continually make content where it's like, um, this game is dead. They've lost 80 to 90% or 75% or whatever their player base. That's every game after it comes out. People play a game for a while and then some of them finish it, or some of them decide they don't like it, or they enjoyed it. They got their hours worth almost all the time, and if not, they return it. So yeah, I just think this is like very normal. Another thing about games too, and this is something that we as a player base need to understand, and I don't think we should ask for less. Just to be very clear, but I think we need to be. Games don't ever launch anymore whenever they are done. They don't launch when they're finished. Okay, they don't launch when they're complete. They launch when they are good enough. Because most games, pretty much all games, whenever they launch, they're in debt. They have not succeeded in turning a profit. It's kind of like making a movie in a lot of ways. You have this huge lead up, and then you release it, and you hope enough people watch it. Now, can you continue to make money after launch? Yes, absolutely. But if the launch sales are bad enough, no. And you're not going to make money, and you just kind of cut your losses. And I think that is one of the things that has happened with Funcom in the past, is they've had some things that haven't done very well, and they had to kind of cut their losses a bit and move on to the next thing. And I think that really the players who were playing were really incredibly disappointed and angry about that. I think that's part of what has made people so upset. No, you're good, man. Dylan says, sorry, mate, was driving. Yeah, my point is the same as yours. The trend we are seeing is normal, and looking at the numbers already for the free weekend and new content shows the trend back up. Yeah, exactly. And, we could talk about, like, this is more, this is less, how quickly does it fall off? What's going on here. There were some major issues, and there still are, with the game. I've had an issue where I couldn't play with one of my characters on one of the servers because anytime I could never interact with anything. There have been some major things that, will piss you off. like that's absolutely true, and that's totally fair. But I think overall, again, they're listening, and I think that Dune has the potential to have an incredibly bright future. The same thing I've been telling everybody since the game came out, or even before, is that if those things are going to make you rage and want to quit a game, first off, totally understandable. I get it. I feel the same way to a large degree. Wait and pick the game up. You can get it at a bargain in a while, and everything else, but I think that the core gameplay here is honestly quite amazing, and I hope that we don't have a game that we players kill because of, if you go on social media and you're like, this is so garbage, this is such BS, blah, 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 and that's your post, what someone sees is Dune Awakening, garbage, terrible, the worst game ever. That's what they hear. Even if you didn't say worst game ever, that's what they hear. They don't hear, even if you put it on there, but probably you didn't, they don't hear, this is the best game of 2025. Also, I'm so pissed off. Why did they do this stupid thing? They just hear this is a stupid thing. And so one of the things that I want to try to do is, like, still, again, yeah, let's be pissed off. Yes, let's expect them to fix things and do, make positive changes, make huge changes because the game really needs it. Stop stepping on the rake and hurting themselves for no reason. I would like to see them do that. But also recognize that just like some of the other great games that have been out recently, reference Helldivers. I can't believe Helldivers still keeps getting better. It's kind of insane to me, honestly. It's like, how is this game still getting better? But let's recognize this is a great game with a huge potential. And I really want this to be a game that I can continue playing for years and years. And I really want Funcom to double down on this. I think they've been happy with the success, maybe even a little bit surprised. Maybe not. But I think they've been happy with the success. And I think it can just continue going for years and years if they will, again. So right now, it is likely that they still have most of their core staff working on this game. And then what will happen is that some of those people will not have jobs to do, and they will need to go other places and what have you. The team will get changed up, and you're not making a full game, you're adding to the game, and so it should require less of a staff. I really, really hope, and this is again, I think the core thing. I want to see them make those fix the bugs, like fix the bugs, fix the things that are where the game is not complete the game, right? Like we've already seen them doing that. They need to continue to do that, and then anything for a cost. If they, my message to Funcom would be, if you're looking at this and you're going, well, all that stuff is going to cost more money than I think we have. Figure out a way to charge players. Give us the option to see if we want to buy in, because I personally want to buy in. And I feel like this way with so many other games where the companies are like, oh, we have limited resources. And a lot of players, we are responsible for this. We're like, oh, $60 for a game or $70 for a game is too much. Guys, games have been like $60 for decades. And inflation means that games have gotten cheaper. And as they've gotten cheaper, the scope of the games have also gotten larger. Let's not ask unrealistic things. If you're putting hundreds of hours into a thing, if you're putting tens of hours a week or more, or even a handful, like, it's okay to, you should want to pay for that thing to be good and be improved. And we just need to get on board with that. I think Funcom has done a great job of being pro-consumer with their financial policies. And yeah, I'm just incredibly, I've talked about this before when reviewing games. If for me, reviewing games, and for you guys, there's really like three things that you need to know. So you want to know who the company is. So I kind of lump several things into one category, right? So there's three categories of things, maybe. Let's say you need to know the company. You need to know what kind of games they make. You need to know how they address things, how they act, how they have in the past. Knowing who the company is. If the company has been doing a bad job, if the company has released only one style of game, and now they're trying to make a new style of game, that could be a red flag. Might be fine, but it could be a red flag. If the company has not been responsive to players, I'll just tell you, ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, I'm not going to play whatever new game they come up with next, because I am not interested. They do not listen to player feedback. They do not seem to be able to act upon it and what have you. And so I know that the next game they put out is not going to be that great. I know that because I know enough about the company to know that they're not really capable, without major changes, of making a really good game. So that's one of the things you need to know. And for a lot of people with Funcom, they're like, no, they've done me wrong in the past. I'm done with them. And that's understandable, right? You need to know what kind of game they're making. Right? Is this going to be a game that you like, that you want to play? And with Funcom, when we're talking about Dune, like, they made the game, right? But you need to listen to the direction they're going. They said, oh yeah, it was a mistake to have half of the game be PvP, or the whole in-game, 90% of it be PvP, when before that it's been, the other direction, or 99% PvE. That's a problem. We made a mistake. A dumb mistake. I don't know how they managed to do that, but them responding, them saying that, no, this is the game, listen to what they tell you. If they say this is the kind of game we want to make, don't listen to it with the lens of, I want to hear what I want to hear. Listen to it, try to understand their point of view. Are they telling you that they want to make a game that you want to play? I know that seems crazy, but that really is what you have to do. So, these are a couple of things. And again, the responsiveness with Dune, not everybody's going to like this game. It's not the style of game that everybody is going to want to play. But for me and my money, it's been absolutely amazing, and I plan on continuing to play it. And I'm looking forward to adding this as one of several games that I continue to play moving forward. Guys, we've been chatting for a while here. I have another run here in about an hour. If we have any questions or anything you guys want to talk about, complaints, things you're pissed off about, any questions you have, let me know. I'll give you guys a minute to drop them in chat. But if we don't have anything else, then maybe we'll just call it here, and we'll be back in an hour, because I think I've said a lot, and I don't want to keep going. I feel like I might be talking in circles a bit, and I just want to make sure that we've addressed as much as we can, though, that I've given everybody the opportunity to. And you know what? While we're doing that, I'm just going to check a few things and see if I can't make sure that we have all of the questions and everything that we wanted to talk about, that they've been addressed. And let me see if I can pull up any of these other questions that you guys have had that I've asked Funcom here, because I think I am missing a few. I pulled everything up, but I think before the stream, but I think I either missed this or accidentally deleted it. Could be either. Not always the most organized. So let me find it. There we go. All right, let me just download that and I'll pull it up here. Cool. Yeah. So here's a handful of questions that were posted that the developers. This is also crazy, and again, this shows me. This is really positive for me because I was able to ask questions directly to developers and get answers. Um, with a lot of games, a lot of these like AAA games, bigger games companies, they're never going to give you that opportunity. And or someone like me, the opportunity to ask questions from you guys directly and then get real answers. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let me see. So someone asked about the free-to-play weekend. Guys, it's the full game. It is. You can choose any server. You can join friends, what have you. And if you decide to stay with the game, you will be able to. And you'll just be able to save your progress, and you're good. So somebody asked about that. Are there plans to allow character data transfer soon? So I can, for example, go to a North American Harmony server, which has a high population, as this person is mentioning they're a PvP content creator, and they feel like, they cannot create content on Oceania because right now, just generally the problem for PvP is that there are too many servers spread out, and we had those players, and now we're at a fraction of the population. They needed all those servers for launch. I think they were waiting, just FYI, I think they were waiting to see how many people came back for the update to get an idea of how much they should condense those servers. So I think we will see after they gather that data, because that's what I would do. I would wait till I got some data, how many players are going to come back, because if they smash all those servers together and then so many more people come back, you'll get terrible server performance, which they don't want. So they need to have to add more servers. So it's something they would have to do. They said, and this person's basically just asking about what are you going to do? Because right now it's a little bit lonely on some of these servers. And they said this is something we're working on, and we'll announce it when we have more information to share. They're kicking the can down the road, but I wouldn't expect them to do anything until after at least the first update, so they can get some data on what their lasting player base is going to be like. So expect hopefully in the next update or two, maybe for the next PvP update, maybe that would be when they would do it, so that people can have a good experience there. Let me see. Can we make the pin shields join onto wedge walls? We agree that it would be a good idea to have pin shields be more flexible, but this is not the plans yet. And then they kind of talk about some specifics. Yeah, I think that there's a decent amount of stuff with housing that I personally have been a little bit disappointed in the way it's been done. I think it's fun. I think it's still really good. There's a lot good about it, but I would like to see the housing stuff. There's so many things that I think could be improved. And honestly, that's one of the things that I don't want to have to be doing videos in a year telling players about like the tricks, because this thing doesn't work the way it should. I would really like to see them fix those things and improve those things. And I will be honest, that's one of the things where the housing and the climbing, I really expected them to do more and improve more from Conan Exiles. I know they just copy pasted it to a large degree. I expected them to copy paste it and then add to it, improve upon it, and they didn't. And I honestly was very disappointed with that. Again, I know they have limited resources, limited time, but me as a player, I was pretty disappointed with that. And I thought it was, I think they could do better, and I hope they do better in the future. What else we got here? The free update and DLC be out the same day. Yes. Okay, that was just something that it came. They actually released the DLC a day early. Will we have deluxe physical edition copies of the game with goodies and merch included? They said that we're looking into this for the future, but we don't have anything to announce right now. Are there any plans to have garage doors big enough for 2x2 and 3x2 for like vehicles? And they said, yes, this is coming, not a set date, but it is in the works. So they realized they made a mistake. I don't know how they made that mistake and why nobody put two and two together. Teams weren't communicating or something, but they do realize it and they're trying to fix it. So that's good. I would like to see that. Will there be seasonal/repeating events to keep engagement up like the current one? Because new chapters will only be capable of providing a limited story experience, so not keep everyone busy for weeks or months. Yes, we will add more events over time. We can also read, and they have an interview with a 10-year plan where they talk about their 10-year plan on Games Radar. And actually, I could link this for you guys if you'd like, so that you can have it. This is where they talk about, they first of all, they have a 10-year plan, and then the other thing is they mentioned going to like water worlds, which I thought was pretty sweet and a pretty cool idea. I think this is too long for YouTube. I think well, search this up. I have to like delete it. It's actually like too long for YouTube. Hopefully that link will get you most of the way there. Will that work? Let me see. Yeah. Oh no, page not found. Let me see here. What's the title of this article? I'm just gonna link the title, and you guys can Google this if you want to find it. That's funny that the URL is just too long for YouTube. Um, Timo says, did they ever address the issues that chess respawn thing in the PvP area? Are you talking about the infinite loot, Timbo? Because they patched that within a handful of hours of realizing it was there. I will say that and many other issues, and I don't know why this happens with most of the games I play that have test servers. Players will give feedback and stuff will still go live, and game-breaking stuff that they have to hotfix will go live. Not stuff where they said, hey, you know what? Yeah, that's a problem, but right now you have to prioritize. We can't fix all these issues, so we're going to fix the biggest ones. I don't know. Yeah, that was another one of those big things where you're like, why are you guys hurting yourselves? But they also have addressed, maybe you mean more generally, Timbo, about like chess not responding right. They have instanced some of that stuff. They made it where if the enemies respawn, the chest will respawn. So when you go through a testing station, the loot will be back up, generally speaking. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's better, but I think there's still more to be done. Yeah. You said something about it. Make it like a King of the Hill thing. Sorry, I don't play the. Oh yeah. No. Timbo. It's an ongoing thing, man. Yeah, before the chess, and there's still places where the respawn timer is like hours, and you're like, what is going on? They've addressed some of it. They haven't addressed all of it, and they know that it's still a problem, and I think they're working on it. I just think they have some longer term solutions they're going to work on, and I think some of that will be in the PvP update. So we've got a few months, but yeah, they've done what they can for now. Is basically the TLDR. Will factions ever be relevant outside of the Landsrad? Yes, well, sort of. The factions will have a greatly expanded role in the Landsrad when we make the in-game changes. So, yes, right now the factions don't. They talked about having specific areas that are just for PvP. So, specific maps and what have you, where you can go and it's all faction PvP. So, we will expect that. I also expect there to be a third faction. I think we'll be able to join the Fremen. In the PvP update is I'm reading tea leaves, but I think that's when it'll be. Do you all plan to add any more structure types to the game, such as spiral staircases, quarter ceilings, walls, and floor? So this is more housing stuff, because the housing is, I enjoy the housing in this game, guys, and I don't do housing in most other games. We will add more structure types. We cannot confirm this will be coming, or we cannot confirm what will be coming, and not right now. Reveals with this will be step by step going forward in blogs and live streams. So a bit non-committal, but I think it's because they don't actually know what they can do, because they're going to try to do the best they can with limited time, and so they don't want to make promises they can't keep. But the TLDR on the housing is, yes, we plan on improving it. Again, I'll be honest, I thought they should have improved it coming from Conan Exiles, and they didn't. So that's one of the things that I was disappointed in, and I hope they continue to improve. Let me see. They asked about the free weekend here. I think we kind of already addressed that. Will we get outside scattered decor like we see at the outposts, crates, tools, etc.? It's another housing question. And they said yes. So they've actually already done this with the newest update. But this will come. Some items are added in the upcoming DLC Lost Harvest, and they're going to add more of that so that you can make your base look as like it belongs as much as any of the NPC bases, which is pretty cool. Any plans to change the way Landsrad rewards are collected instead of traveling across the basin and deep desert? Yes, this will come eventually. So that's just a quality of life thing. If you guys don't know what that is, there's just a thing that's kind of annoying, and they're going to fix it eventually, but it's understandably lower priority. Are you going to add horns to the vehicles? That's funny. They said, assuming you mean horns as in the audible kind, not literal horns. There aren't immediate plans for it, but likely at some point in the future. Are there plans to continue iterating on the Deep Desert Landsrad gameplay loops, such as bringing back reasons to harvest and build in the PvP islands? Harvesting titanium in the PvP area with a buggy is amazing gameplay. Make control points, other things such as make control points continually active for the personal Landsrad contributions, so they can be fought over every week. Changes to the ships, so they're not just a camping area. This is what I complained about earlier, extending deep desert reset times for quality of life, etc., etc. That kind of goes on here. So this is from the production director. So this is one of the people that's going to be responsible for, like, what can we get out and when, and organizing that. He said chapter 3, so we're on chapter 2, which is the third quarter thing. Chapter 3 will be focused on revamping the end game, and we'll be able to talk more about this soon. See it mentioned in the stream, and then he gives a link to the stream. I saw that stream. Yeah, I am very hopeful that they're going to do some great things with the in-game PvP in the deep desert, and also adding other areas where there's faction-based. They have a whole bunch of ideas, guys. They've talked about a lot of different things. They can't do all of them. They won't do all of them. I don't think they've decided, but they have some really good ideas, and that's another one of the reasons I'm so hopeful. I did ask about in-game rewards and achievement unlocks. I know you guys, they're going to release more stuff, outfit styles, swatches of all types. But my community has asked about this. So is there anything you can tell me about the future of these things, or if you have considered adding more than originally planned based on player demand? They said we always keep an eye out for player feedback. Right now, there are new styles coming with a free update and DLC, and a swatch coming with a DLC. So let us know what you think about it after playing. I will tell you, the new swatches, the new colorings and everything have been really cool. I love the colors. The red, dope. The new swatches, the new colors look really cool. I hope that they will continue to add all that stuff, because I think players demand it, but we should keep telling them so that they do. One statement many in my Discord upvoted by many was, there are still so many of these bugs that it can be difficult to play sometimes. And I know, as someone who played in the beta, they were likewise upset that the game shipped with some of the issues that had already been reported. I understand, as someone who covers games, these are all questions from people like me, that these things are always far more complicated than the average player realizes. But can you guys give us any assurance or a short line, assuring us that they're going to fix bugs and everything else? And here's the response. We have a section of the development team that works exclusively on squashing bugs and improving the stability of the game. We are committed to eliminating any issues that are causing instability or unintended behavior to our players. This, to me, isn't as strong as I would like to hear. I don't know I think that's just a communication issue. I think they're trying to say it as strongly as they mean it. Any unintended behaviors, they're saying they want to fix all the bugs. I like that. From what I have gathered from personally, because I have had a chance to talk to the developers at Funcom, they're gamers, guys. The people making decisions at the company are gamers. They're not. That I have seen, it's not a C-suite saying you got to do this, you got to do that. And I think that just like Larian, just like Arrowhead, that this is a company that just wants to make a really good game. And that, again, is why I'm so hopeful for it. Is it going to be everything that I want? Everything that I want is quite high. I have a lot of high expectations. I don't think it will. Do I think that it can still be one of the I still think it's the best game of 2025, and I think it could just be I think this game could blow up given time to fix some of these issues and add some of the problems, or add solutions to some of the problems and everything. I really do think this could be one of the best games and one of the best MMOs to come out in a long time. This Dune Awakening is everything that I was hoping Ashes of Creation would be, and I had high hopes for that. So we will see if they actually do this, if they actually follow through. But right now, they have done an incredible job of listening to feedback and doing all this stuff. So, uh, you know, again, they've screwed up. They've had other things. They broke things they didn't mean to. Um, I just wish players would realize that they're doing the best they can, and maybe that's not good enough for you, in which case you should probably go find another game to play. That's very valid. That's fine if you feel that way. I'm not disagreeing with that way, but I think for me and as someone who covers games and has someone who is very, generally speaking, very critical of games companies, I think they're doing as good of job as we could possibly expect. To be totally honest with you, I think that sure, players have high expectations. Keep those expectations high. Keep telling the company the things you're not happy about. I'm not saying don't do that, but I think that they're doing a good job of responding to player feedback. And I think that the people that want more, I understand it. I'm not saying that feeling isn't valid, but I don't think it's realistic to expect. I just don't. And I think that again, you should look at, you just spent $50, maybe 75 or 100, 70 or 100 or 90. I'm sorry. If you went full on with everything, the deluxe version, you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot. I think you're getting your money's worth still. I am one of those players who wants to spend more money on games because I want them to be better. I want them to get better and continue that. And I'm with you on that. I hope that they will give us what we want, and if they need to charge us more, I hope they'll do that. I hope they'll have the confidence to do that, and I just want them to be able to continue to make a great game. All right, let me see what else we got. We got a last question here. I think current players and non-Haga Basin servers are not reported to the server. Oh, this is like a technical question. They're wondering about player counts. This is a PvP thing. I think that so my PvP friends have not come back. I have seen some PvP players come back just to see what the game is like. Nothing has changed for you if you're a PvP player, really. I mean, some things have changed, but probably not. They're neutral to not better. You got to wait, guys. You just got to wait 3 months for them to come out with the PvP changes. I know that's not the answer you might want to hear. I know it sucks if you really enjoyed it, because the PvP, guys, it's peak. When it's good, it's so good. It is so good when it's good. I think we just gotta wait. We gotta wait for them to make some changes. We have to get it where it's not this conflict with PvE players that don't want to do PvP at all, and then PvP players that are only looking for PvP. Like, that's a conflict in every MMO almost. So give them 3 months, or 3 to 6 months, I guess, and let's see what they do. I think we just have to wait and see, and I am hopeful. Some of the developers are really into the PvP aspect of the game, and I think it shows, and I think it's great. I think it's awesome. It's pretty amazing, honestly, the PvP gameplay. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know, guys. I think we've covered just about everything. So I think maybe we'll call the stream here. If you guys like this kind of thing, do me a favor, leave a like on the video. Let me know if you want to talk about more stuff. Drop it in the comments if you're watching this later, and let me know what you think. And maybe we can do this again in the future, because I think there's a lot more to say here. I think we've kind of gone on a talked kind of broad strokes about the game. Again, it's free to play this weekend, 11th through the 15th. So we got a few more days. You can pick up where you picked off, where you left off if you decide to purchase the game. It's $40 right now, and anyways, pretty excited for it. I hope you give it a try, and I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you soon. We'll be back in about 40 minutes with some more ESO. We'll be doing Rock Grove hard mode again tonight with the group. So with the Beyond the Pale Order. So, all right, guys, we'll see you soon. I appreciate Timbo. Thanks for dropping in, man. Even if you don't play the game, appreciate you tuning in. Dylan, appreciate the conversation. Crude Red, also providing some feedback. And then Hunter and Liriel, always appreciate you guys. All right, guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Check out Dune Awakening if you haven't. Free weekend. It's not going to cost you anything, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.